I would just spend time doing the things I need to do. But number one priority was always clearing the TRW.
Nice. All right, cool. Let's bring your man, the legend himself, G Rico. G, let's just go through like your general journey, and don't and try not to condense it. Like, I'm super open to having like an open conversation student that's listening in. So Rico, tell us about your journey. How did it start? Where you are now? What was that transition? And by the way, G's, I'm gonna get to the difficult questions very soon. I'm gonna start talking about those conversations with the parents, how it went, all that different thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it, Rico.
Yeah, what's up, G? So, I guess my entrepreneurship journey started when I was in sixth grade. I started selling snacks. I don't know if any and started my own business and things like that because everybody would always tell me, "Oh, you're gonna be your own business one day," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." So I was still playing video games like freshman year of high school. I didn't go to parties, I didn't do drugs, I didn't smoke, I didn't do any of that like I guess more degenerate stuff. But I was just like a regular teen, I guess. I was doing sports, I was doing video games, I was like going out with my friends to eat here and there. And I didn't really stop to like think, okay, what am I gonna do with my life till my junior year of high school? That's when I like pivoted. I was like, okay, am I gonna go like it? And then AFM opened up. I went to AFM. I started a tape page, a tape fan page, just to get people inside the real world. But then it wasn't working, and I wanted to be my own creator, my own boss, or whatever. So I started creating TikToks. And what was I doing? I was doing golf. I was selling chips, and I was doing gardening. I was like, okay, I'm not really interested in gardening like that. So that was like scratched out the picture. Like this is what Tate did. He said he like wrote down things that he did. And then I was like, okay, maybe golf, but I'm not really that good. And I was like, you know what? Let me just give it a try selling snacks at school. So I made a whole page around that. I made a TikTok first. It blew up. Boom. Same thing with YouTube. Boom. So that's like really made me like, okay, this is what I want to do. So that's why I was in TRW and I went even harder, literally just studying the lessons. And I was still in school at the time. I was in like a academy in my school, which is I guess more higher classes or whatever. It wasn't AP or nothing like that, but it was still like the level right before it. And I was getting pretty good grades. I was in a lot of clubs. I was president of my chess club, my HSA club, and archery club, whatever. So I was really active in my school. Geez, like you don't understand. I stopped playing video games because I just didn't have no time. I was wake up, go to school. I had school at 7 o'clock, so I wake up like 6 something, get ready, pack my bag to sell at school, go to school, do all my classes. During the classes, I was looking at the AFM lessons. I was listening to Luke lessons on my breaks before the teachers even started. Because, like what Cam said, they just waste a bunch of time like talking in the beginning. So I was like, all right. My friends, I did have friends, but I was like basically distancing myself because I was focusing fully on everything. And I was in sports. I was in football and golf, and then so that took up a lot like time as well. But I was still grinding. I was still like every day I would come home, I would edit a video that I would film. So I'd edit my long form on CapCut. Geez, I started off zero. I would edit it in my phone in class, a little TikTok. I'll post it. People would be like, "Bro, look at Rico editing a little TikTok." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, TikTok got like 30K views." So I guess that's my school day. I would finish school. I would walk home. I'd film me counting my money. I put the money away and then I hop on my computer. It's a Frankenstein computer that my old brothers just gave me their old computer parts and just put it together for me. And that's what I edited on, G's. But before I edited on the phone. So, I mean, that's my whole school day. That's how it started. And I mean, if you want me to start talking about like when almost graduated, then I could talk about that as well, Pope.
Yeah, go ahead, G.
So, I mean, I was continuing on this path forever. Literally, I was like just doing it, the same thing. I was getting decent grades. I had A's and B's. And I could have went to any 4 year I wanted to. It just if I put my mind to it, I could have did it. I was thinking about being a doctor. Geez, I'm not even gonna lie, because that's what I'm Mexicans. That's what my Mexican parents wanted for me, and that's what everybody around me says. Like, oh, what are you gonna do, doctor? I'm like, so it was in my mind. And the academy that I mentioned earlier, it was called the Health Science Academy. So I was doing like the doctor stuff. I'll drop a picture later in the chat where I was in a doctor suit. I was dissecting things. So I mean, like I was busy. I was really busy. I was doing this. I was doing sports. I was in the clubs. I was very active. I was in my news station. I don't know if Pope remember. I was submitting those like a long time ago when I was doing like a live news. Yeah. So I was literally doing everything, G's, like you can imagine. I was busy, but I still made time for what I wanted. And what I wanted was to be an influencer. I'm still on that path. And now I'm doing UGC and my YouTube channel, stuff like that. So
Brilliant.
Yeah.
No, because I've been with you, both of you. I've been with you on both your journeys, right? So
Yeah.
it's absolutely amazing to see where you lot are now.
Yeah.
So let's get into the nitty gritty, right?
Cool.
That was all great, super cool. Yes, all the
Yeah.
students know, all the
Yeah.
G's listening, they
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I know. We got to do this. We got to. Cool. Let's just throw that out the window for a second. Let's say every single student know this. They now know, okay, we can find time, we can do the work, but we still want to have that conversation. So the very first thing is, and I'm going to go over to Despite. Tell me about the very first conversation you had with the parents, the mom. How did it go down? How did you approach it? What was your mindset before even going to the conversation? Was it the type of conversation like, oh, I'm just going to completely drop out? Or how did it go about? And what was the reaction? That's what we want to know. That's the source, bro.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, it was brewing over the whole year. Like, I started last September, about a year ago, and over the whole school year, my mom would see what I was doing. I would tell her about the different things I was doing, and at first, just because I know my mom, I gotta, warm up the conversation. I would make jokes about it, like, haha, like, yeah, I'm not. Look at this, I'm not going to college next year, and then like she'd be bullshit, she'd be pissed. But eventually, I started leveling up more, doing more things, accomplishing more, and towards the end of the school year, I finally called my mom. I had a conversation. I'm like, Mom, you see everything I'm doing? Look, I've accomplished this, this, and this. I'm to the point where jeopardizing all the things I'm doing right now doesn't make sense for a degree where, of course, I have those credits. Those are never going to go anywhere. It doesn't make sense for me to jeopardize all the things I'm doing now just to go back to school for a degree that I'm never going to use. And eventually she kind of heard me out. She saw all the results. I put everything on the table and she was like, okay, cool. Like, I believe in you. I kind of made a deal with her. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to hit a certain mark. And if by a certain time I don't do that, like, I'm with you. I'll go back if I need to. But that was kind of my conversation I had with my mom.
But like, and I've never actually tried and pressed you for this information, but I'm going to press you today. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was her reaction? Tell me exactly word for word. What happened? Like, did she freak out at first? Did you have to calm her down? What was the actual kind of back and forth? Because every time I asked you this, or have asked you this previously, you always just said, yeah, my mom was just super cool. She's just like, yeah, all right. But let us know properly.
Yeah. So the thing is she was much more chill than I expected. And that's because over the whole year, she saw how hard I was working. And we had those kind of like not super chill moments plenty of times. So the time when I was finally like, let it chill, got even more results and then brought it back to her, she was kind of chill. And, that whole negotiation agreement thing kind of took the edge off, right? A little bit of like a risk reversal. But yeah, surprisingly, you'd think your parents would be flipping out, and she did for a while, for like all those other times I brought it up. But finally, that last conversation towards the end of my junior year, it was much more level-headed, much more logical, and we came to an agreement. So that was all good.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the kind of, it's almost, look, geez, I want you to understand, it's almost like landing a prospect, right? Like, hey, let's do a performance deal. If I get to this point, then from there we can negotiate the pay. And it really is like, and that's where I'm going to end up leading this whole like live call. But before we do that, let's switch over to Rico. Obviously, Cam's got white cool Perez. Rico's got that Mexican background, bro. I'm sure there must have been a few slippers flying around here and there. Who knows? Rico, break it down. The very first conversation, how did it go down? Your thoughts, what happened? How did you kind of navigate the whole conversation? Let us know, bro.
I mean, my mother was pissed, bro. I'm going to say that. My dad, he was a little more on the chill. But even still, he was like, either you're going to college or you're paying rent. And I was pretty making some money, so I was like, bro, I'm paying rent. He's like, okay, cool. And that kind of created a drift between my mom and dad, because my mom was like pushing, oh, Rico, you're going to college. I'm sorry for my, I don't give a fuck. You're going to college. Stop saying dumb shit, like just stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, I was like, when Cam said I was joking, I was like, Mom, I'm not going to college. Mom, I'm not signing up for
Did you
college.
have a good reaction though, Rico? Let's just be real, right? Did you have a because you're way past it now, right? But
Mhm.
at that time, looking back now, did you have that childish reaction that I talk about, or did you have a more of a grown up conversation? I don't know. Part of me feels like first in the very first one, you probably had a bit of a childish one.
Because I was telling her this while I was still in high school, and then all my peers around me, they were signing up
Yeah,
for college. They were doing like their letters or like the scholarships and stuff like that. And where I'm from, we have something called a FAFSA. My mom kept
yeah.
saying, "Oh, sign up, sign up, sign up." I'm like, "I'm not going to college, Mom. I'm not signing up." And she just get mad and heated. But we never really had that like conversation until literally leading up to my graduation because they were gonna let me graduate if I didn't sign up for the FAFSA. And she got
Right.
pissed at that. She was like, "What?" Like she was mad at the school. She wasn't mad at me. I thought she was gonna be mad at me. She was more mad at the school that they were doing that. So she had to sign like a waiver just so I could graduate. And I mean, like she's seen the check, she's seen the money in. Like, geez, that's like my biggest. What's the word? I can't think of like my negotiation.
Proof. So, yeah,
Yeah, the proof.
negotiation, social proof
Yeah,
as well, right?
yeah, yeah. Because like, geez, I did a lesson about in the chats a long time ago. If you're telling your parents, "Oh, Mom, I don't want to go to college," but she sees you watching YouTube, watching Netflix on your phone, scrolling TikTok, playing video games, you think they're gonna like let you? My mom let me because she seen me working out, she seen me leveling up, she seen me getting money in the bank. She seen me constantly editing every single day. Even while I was in school, I was coming home to edit. I wasn't playing video games like my other peers or my even my little brother. That's gonna set you apart. Like if you're gonna talk about this, you need to think about from her perspective. What is she looking at? Like when she's looking at you, what does she see? Does she see a hardworking son who's actually working towards something, or does she see a lazy degenerate that's playing video games, watching TV, not doing nothing with their life? Because
One
their
hundred
parents,
percent.
they want the best for you. That's what you need to understand. And if they think, oh, they're just trying to lead you on the right path. And if you have money in the bank, if you're making constantly $3,000 every single month or even more, like in my case, for example, then obviously they're gonna let you stay. Because like that was during school. Now, like I mean, I hit $10,000. Well, in like I don't in March, and then
How do your
again,
parents feel about that, by the way, Rico?
I mean, she's amazed. She's like, oh, she's like, oh, did I say you're so handsome? Like just in a joking way, and then stuff like that. But I mean, like it feels like you don't think it feels great like being show my mom like, look, Mom, this is how much I made. Look, Dad, this is how much I made. I'm 18, G's, online. No college. There's people. I said this in the interview. There's people like 30K in debt. I'm 30K up just because of the real world. So and putting in that work. Like, geez, it's just. I know it's gonna be hard. You may be scared. But you just need to bring it up. Like, do it jokingly. That's what I did at first. But then I brought it up with my mom. I'm not going to college. Look at this is what I made. Like in school. Imagine if I could do it full time. That was the whole. That
Right.
was literally the whole conversation.
So tell me something then, Rico. Like, can you describe a day where you kind of had to balance everything out, like college, the real world, hustling to get that first win? Like, what did they actually look like? Because, like I said, I did the same question to Despite, and I'm doing it to you, is because we get a lot of students who come in and say, I just don't have the time. Like, what? How did you have the time? Break it down literally. I woke up this time. This is what happened. Blah blah blah. Let us know.
Woke up at 6, got ready for school, packed my bags because that was my job. Like selling at school, that was my job. So I didn't have to go to like an after school job because I'd make like 100 some a day. So I packed my bags. I go to school because I had school. I started school before everyone else because I was in that academy. So I was already ahead of the people. I wasn't like with the normal people. So I started school. School started like at 7. I got to school. I made a few sales. Went into class. Class. Lunch. I was doing lessons. I was editing on my TikTok and mobile, CapCut mobile. And then afterwards, if I didn't have golf or football, then I would go straight home and get to work. But if I did have golf or football, that'd be another 2 or 3 hours. Geez, football's intense. Especially my school, we were a top school, like for football specifically. And golf takes forever. I don't know if anybody knows plays golf. It takes forever, geez. So I'd get home like 7 or 8 sometimes. And I stay up till like 11, 12. And then I just repeat the same cycle every single day. It's just posting TikToks, recording, literally all that, geez.
What do you think you had to sacrifice?
I guess time hanging out with friends, but like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really have friends that I would hang out with. I didn't chase girls. I didn't smoke, drink, do drugs. Literally, I didn't go to parties. The only time I went to parties was when I was hired out as a videographer. That was my only time I went to parties. Jeez,
Nice. So it's
and I was
still
getting
work.
paid. Yeah, still work.
Yeah, it was work. I mean, it's just like it's super cool again. And despite you could start chiming in now, we'll just have like an open conversation. I think
Yeah.
the way I look at it is just super cool that it's the same
Yeah.
across the board. I want you like college for me. We're talking 20 years ago. Like no, yeah, 20 years ago, right? Say I was 15, 16, whatever. This scenario was the same, G's. Like it was a case of like I was watching other people go out, enjoy themselves, chase girls, party, club, whatever it was, right? And it was a case of like I had to say no to that in order to sacrifice or make those sacrifices to spend the time on what I wanted to achieve, right? So I didn't even necessarily need to drop out. I didn't drop out of college, right? So it's super cool to just see that both of you have kind of said the same thing. So I'm assuming that the students who are saying I can't do this, I don't have enough time, is because they don't want to give up. They don't want to give that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to make sacrifices of the, the other things they could be doing, the normal things that a school kid's doing to put into their goal and vision.
Yeah. G's, one thing that I want to tell you guys, like for all the young G's specifically, after high school, you don't talk to anybody. Like everybody goes their separate ways. Everybody's like living their own life. Like you literally don't talk to anybody. I don't really talk to. I only talk to one person from my high school. Is because he's my barber still. That's the only reason. So
Yeah.
you don't talk to
Nice.
any. Like these people don't matter. You think, oh, this is my last 2 years. I'm gonna see. No, it doesn't matter. Just focus up and grind. Because after high school, that's when life starts. Like you don't want to think about it, but that's it's just the cold hard facts.
So
Yeah.
I will we'll go over to Despite. And by the way, geez, if you lot don't know, I still talk to Despite like a student, even though he's a prof, by the way. And it's just because he's literally kind of come up the ranks through all of the different conversations me and him have had, coaching, and just absolutely crushed it. He's obviously not going to disclose his salaried income change, everything, because I mean, we could say he's kind of crushed it. But yeah, I want to ask you something, right? Despite
Yep.
what would you kind of say to people who, I guess, don't want to do that trade? Like they're okay with, okay, I'm gonna go and party and chill, but I just don't have enough time to really make it in this world.
I mean, really, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't say, "Oh, I want to go out and have fun, not make sacrifices," but then still want to succeed. You can't have success without sacrifice. So that's the biggest thing. Like, you have to just keep that vision in your mind of where you want to be, and then every day just work towards that. Every day, just stay completely laser focused on it. Because if you're saying, "Oh man, like I want to make 10K a month and I want to join CCAI and do all this stuff, but tonight my friends are going out and we're gonna drink and it's just one night." Like you can't do that. Number one, it kills momentum. And each time you make that decision to cop out, it makes it easier for you to make that decision the next time. And then you just keep doing it and doing it. So you have to actually make the hard decision, because each time you make that hard decision, the easier it becomes for you to make that hard decision. So then it's just momentum. You're just doing it over and over and it becomes like a reflex. Like, got to the point where my friends are asking me to go out, there's parties, all this stuff, and I'm like, I have no desire to do that. Like, I would start looking at it like that's just degenerate, it's a waste of time. So it's just about doing that. It's about making the hard decision over and over again.
Do you feel like you've kind of completely lost those friends? Because I'm assuming it's almost like when you decline that group of people, it's almost like they feel like it's almost like their defense mechanism is to kind of like do clown shit with you, like what a
Yeah.
loser, this, that, blah blah blah. But like we all know, in the long run, they're the losers, right? But do you believe
Yeah.
that kind of happened with you as well?
Yeah, because like when you start at the same level as someone, you see them as your equal, and then you see them leveling up. It's kind of like it's hard to accept. And I even tried giving one of my friends, one of my old roommates, once an opportunity, and it just didn't work out because of that fact. Like, they want to. No, it doesn't make them feel good when someone that used to be their same playing field is making all these improvements, because it makes them feel bad. It makes them feel bad because they're not making those improvements. So then they start making excuses. Oh, all you do is work. You don't have a work-life balance. You're not even going to enjoy life, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, we're all still cool. I don't hold anything against any of my friends ever, but it's we don't really talk anymore.
Interesting. What about you, Rico?
I mean, like from high school, I literally talked to zero people from there except one person, and that's because he's the one that used to help me record like my TikToks when I was selling. He's now my barber. That's the only reason I talk to him is because he cuts my hair. He's kind of an entrepreneur himself, but he does like do the like traditional stuff, like even geez, even like being a gangster, like being in the streets, it's not worth it. Like look at these people's lives. They're either dead in jail or just locked up or just trapped with a baby mama they don't really like or love. Like just their lives are not like livable. Like it's just like I see it all around me. Like I live in a hard place. Geez, I don't know if anybody knows this, but like just look at these people's end life. Like is that what you want to be? Because I looked around me and I'm like, no, that's not exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, the part that you lot have all been waiting for, we're gonna open up with the Q&A. Please use this opportunity to ask Rico and Despite any questions. If you want to ask me, feel free, but I'd prefer if you ask these G's because, like I said, I've got a bit of an age gap with most of the youngsters here, so I can try and give some stories, but they're not as relatable as these two now, right? Because times change, things do change, the environment does change, people do change. So, yeah, let's get those questions in. First one's from young Neo who says, "I'm 16, bro. I want to leave school. What can I say to my parents? Getting into grade 11th, and it's the most intense grade. Any help would be appreciated."
Yeah, I guess Rico, this one's more for you because I kind of did everything while I was in college. He's in the same situation you were in where you're doing everything in high school.
Mm.
Geez, I'll tell you one thing. You trying to drop out of high school, don't do that. Finish high school. High school's so easy. Like they say 11th grade is hard. I guess it is hard, but it's easy. You don't have to do SATs anymore. It's not required. Like, bro, it's not that hard. Like, I put gay, but I took it off. But I'm gonna put it back. Like, you want to drop out of high school, you're just using it as an excuse. Like, oh, if I didn't have high school, I'll be no. Do it while you're in high school. I did it while I was in high school. I made, geez, my highest month I ever made was the highest amount of money I ever made in high school was like 2.4, $2.5 thousand. If you can't beat that, or like set a personal record for yourself, do it in high school. Also, live up high school because that's your only time you're gonna be able to like I guess be a kid. I don't know. I did sports, I did clubs, I did like literally everything. I was super involved in my school, and I don't regret it. Do I miss it? No. I'm glad I'm out, but it was something that I did at that time. So live it up. And I say that don't do partying like all that other stuff. Just like actually be involved in the school, and that's an excuse if you're saying you want to drop out because you can't make money.
I
If
agree.
you're already making 5,000, bro, then okay, maybe. But you, I'm not trying to be mean, but you're probably not, bro.
All right, okay, cool. So Amity says, Pop, why don't you talk about your backstory? Um, I've discussed bits and bobs, but I think more of my Black Ops team know most of my backstory. They'll probably tell you like Pope has so many fucking stories, it's unbelievable. I don't know, like despite I probably gone through quite a few with you, right, out in Dubai.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. It was like Pandora's box never ended.
Yeah, so many different things, and I'm actually reserving it. I guess long term plan is when I do the face reveal. Once I got approval, and then boom, from there I'll probably just run the first call with just an intense story of everything that I've done. I mean, it's been a wild one. All right, Suvi says, what is the one good thing about college? Question for both Pope. He didn't tag the other person. But go ahead, you two go first, and then I'll answer what I think about it. What is the one good thing about college?
Well, I guess in my experience, it was good to when I got out of high school. The world's pretty small, right? But when I got into college, everything kind of got bigger. You get that independence if it's your first time kind of living on your own. But besides that, like in terms of everything education based, I don't really see any utility behind college unless you absolutely need to become a doctor or something like that.
Mhm. What about you, Rico?
I mean, I like everybody always says, "Oh, network," but geez, I've got the best connections outside of college. You don't need to go to college to get these network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best thing about college, like if you're really gonna stick with it, is more of the discipline side. And I want to give you a bit of a insight into the type of college student I was, right? Because I'm not gonna fuck with you. I was one of those. I was a dork. I'm genuinely telling you, I was a dork, and most people don't believe, but I was a special one, right? And I'll explain to you why. Because I would never miss a class. I was always on time. I always had like my book ready to take notes, all of this type of stuff. But if anyone fucked with me, I would knock them the fuck out. Like I was that type of dork, right? So like I would just learn how to really become disciplined with everything that you're doing. And I think that's the best thing you like. If you're in a scenario where you just can't have that conversation, even if you're not acting like a child, but your parents are just lashing out and you gotta just, there's no way but like getting around the conversation and you gotta do it, then like I would actually say to myself, you know what? Let me use this opportunity to be disciplined, do things and find time to work on things that I want to be successful in. I think a lot of people don't do that, especially at college. There is time. There's so much fucking time. It's unbelievable. All right. Anyways, Johan says, what does a day in the life look like for you now, despite now that you've gone into AI? That's a great question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same thing every day. Wake up, get some work done at the laptop at the station, go to the gym, eat dinner, go back, work, and then night. It's, rinse and repeat pretty much every day.
100%. Unless I am ringing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll wait. Like the boys that are over in America, boy, they get wrecked sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll ring their phone like 10 times, like, yo, get out of bed right now. This is what's happening. You gotta cook.
I'm like,
So yeah.
It's 5 a.m. Just give me a sec of Justin.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Great question. Tadia says, how much money should you have before having the conversation with your parents to drop out? And that's for both Rico and Despite. How much money did you actually have in the bank before that, the dreaded conversation?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was kind of like only from CCAI and just like grinding AI. It depends on your situation, right? It depends where you're living. But I mean, 5K is a good mark. Like I hear you, Pope, saying, once you have 5K, you can live anywhere in the world and you're already making like a great salary. So I think 5K is a good starting point. It really depends on your family, your situation, where you live, the kind of socioeconomic status and all that stuff. So
nice. What about you, Rico? What was your scenario? What was your situation financially?
I mean, I just showed him the big 2.4K check from YouTube, and I was like, I made that in high school. Like, imagine if I just was outside of high school. Like, I had about like 3 or 4K in the bank, and I was like, Mom, look, like, what if I just put all my time into it? But she's like, Nah, you're still going to college. The G's. It's just, I just never signed up, and I just never went. That's like the main thing.
He's worded it a certain way, but I'll reword it for him, right? Because I think it'd be an interesting question. I'm assuming that when you did leave college, right, and this is one of the things, right? When you leave college, you have to now hold yourself accountable to get up, do the work, all these type of things. So there must have been scenarios where you did drop off. What kept you pushing forward?
well, number one, it's pretty hard because my whole journey started with Pope. So when you got Pope over you, it's kind of hard to fall off. But I mean, for me personally, I think it was harder to fall off while I was in school. Just so many different things going on, schoolwork, delivering pizza, all this different stuff. But now when I'm out of college, I just have this one thing. It's something that I want to do because it's part of my goal. It's part of my vision. And when you're closer, when you win, you're more motivated to do that same work. So like I have that vision, winning in that vision, it keeps you motivated to continue. So that's kind of my take. If anything, I feel like it's a bit the opposite.
Nice. What about you, Rico?
I guess just what I wanted to do. Like, I mean, if I wasn't going to college, I have something to prove to myself and the other people. I guess it's just like that. I guess the desire to not be normal. Like I get like thoughts. It's like, oh, I can't end up like all because geez, all around you, you don't think everybody wants to be rich. You don't think everybody wants to be successful. Like I see that every day. It's like, oh, what went wrong? What happened? But then I think like, oh, they're drinking, smoking, streets, partying, like all that stuff. It's just I know I'm on a different path, and that's what pushes me. That's what keeps me forward. Like I get excited to wake up. I wake up 6 a.m. sometimes just to get up, get to work.
Nice. Nice.
It's just like that difference between, oh, you'd like to have something versus you actually want something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Marco B's asking a question about sleep, so I'm just going to go ahead and answer this. You should never sacrifice sleep. I want you to genuinely understand, if you're sitting there and saying to yourself, okay, in order for me to be successful, I've got to sacrifice my sleep, then that means you've not correctly dissected your day and really planted in the areas of your day where you should be working. I promise you this. Every one of you have more than enough time. Geez, I want you to understand this very, very carefully. Me and you both have the same time, right? And I run 2 campuses. I have a team for ads. I have a design team, and then a team that does all of the profs editing and anything that they have going on. That's just me. Then sometimes I sit back and I'll compare myself to someone like really high caliber. Let's talk about Elon Musk. He doesn't have more hours in the day, geez. He has the same hours. What's going on? Like really, really just take that in. All right. Silly Khan says, despite what did you do when exams were they like the main AL level exams or the GCSEs?
To be honest, I have no clue what that means.
Yeah, you confuse it. G in USA, the examination structure is very different to UK. So you're referring to UK, which is GCSEs, is basically high school, and then you
Okay.
have your A levels at college, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
the equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it goes back to what I said earlier, right? The good thing about university is you know when that exam is. Like you know, like a week or two ahead of time. You have plenty of time to block out time to study for that exam, push that to the side, check that off the list, and then get into your real work.
Yeah. Somebody says Pope was always on time. Believe it or not, in school, high school, I actually was. I was so fucking punctual. It's unbelievable. Now it's more of a scenario. Students think I'm late because I'm late, and it's not. It's because there's so many different things happening around me. They're like, "Oh, he ain't done a design call today. Pope must just be fucking on his couch doing fuck all, lying down, chilling." And then boom, EM happens, and boom, they see 2 different backgrounds that were created by the design team. Oh, fucking hell, Pope was actually busy. Yeah, I'm always busy. I'm always working, and so is it. So is Despite. So is Rico, right? You lot really need to understand, like, it's not just a case of like I'm gonna go to my parents and I'm gonna say, hey, I want to drop out of college, but then you haven't really shown them any motivation. Like your version of motivation was, oh yeah, I worked a bit and then I was playing games for like 2 hours. Like, bro,
Yep.
when's the last time you played a game? Despite Rico,
Can't even remember years.
My last game, I remember Rainbow Six Siege in junior
Bro, same.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
it don't exist no more, because people, like, once you start to switch on, you start to realize that, you know what, like, why am I wasting so many hours building a character here when I should just be building my character in real life?
And it goes nowhere. Like all the time you put in, it literally goes nowhere. It's just
Yeah.
currently dopamine at the time, and then nothing happens from that. So
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's take, I think, 1 or 2 more questions, and then from there we'll close off the call. Somebody said I ignored the question. I was going to ignore you again because you said I ignored the question. Because when I ignore a question, I do it on purpose. But because of your name, I'm going to read the question out. Obviously, it's the Popo Marketing Chair. Great name, man. He says, what if you want clients? College is a great place, right? Broke money. That's my mentality. Like I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. So I don't know about Despite. Did you ever make like money from college? See, just
Nope.
1 second. See, Rico did it from a different angle, right? He did like a volume mass. Okay, these brokies, let's get them all paying me like $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. Boom, 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 selling, getting money in. That's a different thing, right? But go ahead, like let's take it from this. This is how I'm gonna ask the question to the G's. With what you're doing now, would you be able to find a client in whatever, whether it was you in high school or college?
I mean, I'll just speak to AI. The only thing I could see, the only client I could see is the university itself. If I'm trying to offer some AI solutions, but besides that, I don't really see too many opportunities. Like you said, everyone's broke. The teachers are broke. So yeah.
Yeah,
Rico.
dudes. Like people will be begging me for $1. Like, geez, they're broke. Like, why are you gonna go to college? Like, what are they gonna do? It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know.
Did you ever had like people trying to hustle you? Like, so like you got
Yeah,
a, I think is it Gatorade or something like that? I
yeah.
don't know. How much did that, how much did you used to sell that for?
I only sold it for $2. I sold everything less than $3, and people were like, "Bro, please, come on, bro, we're best friends." I was like, "Bro, I don't know you. Stop."
What were they trying to hustle you for on $2?
Because they're broke, bro. I'm telling you guys, geez, high school and college people are broke. They have no money, zero money.
Yeah, they're trying to get it for like $1 or maybe like over in UK we call it chugging away at getting your next client or whatever it is. So that's my kind of last words to every single one of you. That's the way I look at it. Then from there, we'll get, despite you going with your last words, Rico, and then we'll cut the call off.
Yeah, and I think you coined the term. It's like growing pains. But yeah, number one, you have to show results. Number two, your parents have to see how hard you're working, how much time you're putting in. Like Rico said, they can't see you doing side quests like video games and shit like that. Number three, if you have to come up with some type of agreement, like, hey, if I'm able to get this point by this much, then I don't go back, then you can do that. But bottom line is, it's like selling to a prospect. It has to be a no-brainer for why you wouldn't return. Like, it wouldn't make sense for you to return based on the results that you show them.
Yeah, geez, like literally just show results, work hard, elevate in every single area. Geez, I started building my relationships better with my family. I started leveling up my body. I was doing calisthenics. I'm able to do handstand push-ups, boxing. Money wise, like, geez, one time my mom saw my bank account. She's like, "Would you have that much?" And I was just like, "Yeah." Geez, best feeling in the world. Continue grinding.
Hell yeah.
All right. God bless and peace, G's. I'll see you on the other side. Be creative.